Last week I was on a Carnival cruise and I got to enjoy my favorite pastime, which is people watching. However, this is more of an advanced version of people watching called Pier-runners. People that almost miss the boat. Well, it's not a boat, it's a ship. However, boat just kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit more. Either way, I do have to put an emphasis on almost, as if somebody does get left by the cruise ship, it's actually a little sad, and in a way, still a little funny, depending on how the situation goes down. However, either way, here are a couple clips from my fun and adventures last week and people watching of the Pier Runners. And after this, I'm going to tell you how you can avoid being these poor devils here in 2024, even though it's inevitable that some of you are unfortunately going to be these people.
We got a runner! Yes! Let's go!
Obviously, the last thing you want to do is be like these people that you saw in the video. Best case scenario, you're going to be a little embarrassed. You're going to be mocked and, well, you are going to be disrespecting everybody that made it back on time, the other thousands of people. Unless, of course, you decide to give us a little bit of a show and show a little hustle and run a little bit. You decide to walk and be lazy. Well, yeah, you're going to get mocked even more. And people are going to find out who you are and talk about you for the rest of the cruise. Worst scenario is obviously you get left by the cruise ship, banned to the shadow realm. And if you don't have your passport, you're in a world of financial hurt and you're going to have to pay your way to get back home. U.S. Embassy may or may not have to get involved. That's something you want to avoid altogether. You can avoid situations like this, conundrums of this magnitude in which you are late or left by the cruise ship, by identifying which islands, ports, and destinations where this is most likely to happen. There are two different types in my personal opinion, especially if you're talking about the most common places that people often sail to, especially Americans, like the Caribbean or Caribbean. These are going to be your ports of call in which there is a lot of affordable alcohol where you can get past that point of just being tipsy without thinking about it. Next thing you know, you're drunk, stumbling back to the cruise ship. The second of which is where there are potentially cost-effective or cheap or affordable excursions to do, where there is a wide array of it, plenty of options, not confined to a specific area. The destinations in which you are most likely to be late to a cruise ship or even miss the thing includes but is not limited to ports over in the Bahamas, Dominican Republic, and the Mexican ports. Specifically for Mexico, I am talking about Cozumel. It is number one in my personal opinion for seeing somebody potentially be late or miss the cruise ship, just as you saw in those clips that I showed you earlier. That was Cozumel, Mexico. The most minor mistakes can often and unfortunately cause the biggest problems. For example, when it comes to, let's say, a lot of new cruisers, or even myself from time to time, you can get the times mixed up between what is called the ship time and the land or local time. Oftentimes for cruise ships, whether they leave out of Miami or Galveston or any port for that matter, they may be using the local time in which the port they originated from, as opposed to when they are traveling to other destinations, whether it be a Jamaica or St. Martin, what have you, which can often confuse passengers when disembarking because where they're going may end up being an hour ahead, it may be an hour back, causing people to misjudge their time when they have to be all aboard the cruise ship, or it's a point to where they maybe have like an extra hour or so other than the ship's time. They get a little overconfident and they misjudge their time and wish they're supposed to be back on the ship. The drinking can cause a big conundrum as well. If you're in Nassau, Bahamas, we all love our senior frogs. If you're in Cozumel, Mexico, we all love our Mr. Sanchos and Paradise Beach, and they have a newly opened senior frogs there as well. You're hanging out with your girlfriends, your boyfriends, people you met on the ship, As they say, time really does fly when you're having fun. Well, in this case, it's sails. It's very, very important that you not only double check, triple check your all aboard time, the difference between the ship's time and the local time as well, the distance from the port and where you are going to be doing your drinking at, and at the worst case scenario, maybe have like a DD. Well, nobody's driving over there. I hope not. You should maybe have a DW, a designated walker, somebody that can make sure the entire party gets back to the ship safe and sound on time. Finally, we'll talk about the excursions. The most, I want to say, stereotypical ideology and saying that you'll hear from most passengers is that they will only book their shore excursions with the cruise line because they won't get left. There is a lot of merit to that. I'll give it to you. When I was on board the Carnival Jubilee last week and we were in Cozumel, there was a massive amount of excursion people that were late to the ship, as much as an hour late. The ship did indeed wait for them. They came in like a batch of cookies, red hot from one of the excursion boats, and they were able to just casually walk back over to the ship. They weren't panicked at all. They made it back safe and sound. Nobody said anything, no crazy remarks. So, like I said, it is okay for you to want to do that. I would argue that there is also some merit in saying that you want to take an excursion away from the cruise line. There are a lot of benefits. One, you could potentially save a lot of money doing the same exact excursion that you will with the cruise line, because the cruise line is working with a third party with said excursion. But I do understand the idea of safety and security, sure. However, if you book with somebody in port, you do have the benefit of being specific as far as the time that you want to end the excursion, when you want to be back. You're going to be away from the people that you've been stuck on the cruise ship with, so it's more of like a custom journey. There are a lot of pros and cons to each, but I will say, if you are, let's say, extremely risk averse, yes, just go ahead and book with the cruise lines. Pay your double or triple the price that you would if you have booked on land. Anyway, just have some kind of plan or checklist. That way you aren't that person that's late to the cruise ship or missing the cruise ship. You want to avoid it at all costs. However, if you want to be our entertainment, I don't think anybody is objected to it. I'm sure we're going to see it in 2024 either way, but it's the little things. Know how far you're going to be from the cruise port over to, whether it be Mr. Sancho's Paradise Beach, for example. Understand that there is going to be traffic when there is 10 to 12,000 people, when you got like 5 ships in port getting back to the cruise port as opposed to going there. These are just little things you got to keep in mind, and hopefully you'll be able to have the best experience possible without any incidences whatsoever during your cruise ship vacation. But that's what I got, guys. Of course, let me know your thoughts and added tips in the comment section below. I greatly appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and know, as usual, I love and appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.